back, my dear friends, to the Archaeology of Dark Shadows. Tonight we're going to be looking at vampires, ghosts, and witches from the Golki Comic Digest of June 1970. But first, I want to explain about the contest I'm running. I'm giving away this audio CD of Marilyn Ross's Dark Shadows, Barnabas Quentin and the Mad Magician. It's number 30 in the series of the books that Marilyn Ross did. And it's read by Catherine Lee Scott, who played Maggie Evans and many other characters on the show. It's excellent. I ordered one for myself. They double charged me and sent me two. So instead of sending it back, I decided that I would let one of you have it. All you got to do, this is the premiere, leave a comment, even if you just say hello, and leave and watch it later. And I will draw a name at the end of the program, and I will announce in the post who won. I'll contact you, give you my email address, and the only thing I need you to do is send to me a shipping address where I can send the book or the audio CD to you. And so again, I wish I could give one to everybody, but I can't. Please be sure to leave a comment, okay? Because I would like to have this given out to someone. Okay, so let's get on with it. We're going to take a look at as I said, the Golki Dark Shadows Story Digest from June 1970. Presenting a novella titled The Interrupted Voyage, and this was written by D.J. Arneson and illustrated by Joe Certa. And here's the cover of it. I found a copy recently on Amazon, and I picked it up for $8 plus shipping. And being that this came out on the newsstand in June 1970, it had a very limited time that it was out, and it was only the one printing, I believe. So they're becoming harder to find, the original copies. However, Hermes Press has reissued this in an archival edition for $14.99 plus shipping, which can be found on Amazon also. And so if you'd like to have a copy of it for your own, check that out on Amazon. I found it really pretty good. Now, if you're familiar with the Golki Dark Shadows comic book series, you will have a good idea of what the artwork is like in the Story Digest. Now, I personally think the writing is much better than in the comic books that were at the same period of Dark Shadows. The storyline has some very interesting characters and some situations that are indeed related to the TV series, but in skewed situations, like the walling up of Reverend Trask.
No. Please. Please, no. Please.
And as I have explained in past episodes, this, like the comics, comic strips, and various books and other media, must each be taken as an alternative timeline. Otherwise, nothing would make any sense as far as continuity is concerned. I don't think there was a canon like, say, Star Trek has. There was a treatment written by Art Wallace, I believe it's called Certain Shadows on the Wall, or Shadows on the Wall, and but they didn't stick to it, even within the original series. In the beginning, when Elizabeth and Roger talk about who built Collinwood and when, it's different than when Barnabas appears and he's explaining about Josette and the beginnings of how Collinwood was built and all that. And then only a few months later, when Victoria goes back through time, so we can all see how the curse fell on Barnabas, that whole thing changed again. So there's 3 separate stories. I'm not going to harp on those. It was a wonderful and innovative series, but perhaps those too are alternate timelines. Here's the cast of characters, and you will note only 3 appeared in the television series. The cast includes Barnabas Collins, Angelique, Reverend Trask, and then Calandria, Annabella Collins, Captain Daniel Collins, and Michael, who is Annabella's fiancé, but he is not given a last name in the story. And the story begins at Collinwood, in the tower room, which has been completely redone with planking from Captain Collins' wrecked ship, the Silent Arrow. The time is the present, 1970. The action will take us from Collinwood, the tower room, to Salem, Massachusetts in 1859, where the sort of backwards citizens are having trouble once again with some pesky old witches, and so there's a palpable tension in the air that the writer puts across quite well. And Barnabas, who is using the tower room to house his coffin instead of the old house or the secret room in the tomb, finds that the room is actually haunted by a lovely girl who turns out to be Annabella Collins, Captain Daniel Collins' daughter. Her spirit is trapped in that room until the spirit of her husband-to-be, Michael, comes to free her. The only trouble is that Michael never died, so Annabella has remained trapped there through all this time from 1859. Now, she reveals to Barnabas that on the very day she and Michael were to be married, her father's ship, which she was on, was caught in a sudden hurricane-force storm, and that she died in the churning sea. And I think the storm was supernaturally brought about by Calandra, who is the witch in this story. She begs Barnabas for his help to find a way to end her torment, but to do that, he must find out why Michael has never died, which would require a hop back through time to Salem of 1859 on the very day that Annabella died. And you know what's amazing? All of the different methods that Dark Shadows employed as conveyances back through time. There was the I Ching, there was the Quentin Stairway Through Time. What else? There was other things. My mind. So the seance that took Victoria back through time. And I think there were others. But at any rate, in this instance, it had to do with a board that Barnabas was standing on from the ship that had the name of the ship, the silent arrow, on it, and that somehow allowed him conveyance back through time. The setting in this book, Salem, Massachusetts, is quite interesting. The citizens are made to look a little paranoid, a lot superstitious, and very simple-minded. Once they spot Barnabas in his modern clothes and seeming to appear out of the powerful storm, the entire village of Salem becomes obsessed with him being a warlock and bent on killing Barnabas. So, Barnabas, thrust back through time, manages to save Isabella from drowning, and they work together to find and save her beloved Michael, who is apparently being manipulated by a witch, and they begin their search for Michael. Indeed, Michael is controlled by a witch whose name is Calandra. And I assumed as I began this that Calandra was just another incarnation of Angelique, or Angelique in disguise. I mean, who wouldn't? Angelique is the witch, right? But it is not. Calandra seems to be the new witch on the block, so to speak, and it also revealed that she has Michael's soul captive in a little black amulet that she can wear. Now, the townspeople, evidently still afraid from the witch trials that happened well over a century before, shun Barnabas, and a group of brave Salem kids try to stone him. Angelique does show up, but not until chapter 19, where she and Calandra join forces. But Angelique is not a witch. She is instead a vampire, which she was at one point in the TV show. But in this, it seems that would be her identity, not a witch, that she was a vampire. And originally caused the curse to fall on Barnabas by sinking her fangs into his succulent neck. There is a scene here which seems somewhat out of place, but does harken back to the TV series, and that of Reverend Trask being walled up during a flashback sequence.
Trask.
I...
Trask.
Where?
Where are you? In your grave.
No! Please!
Look at the lights, Trask.
Light!
Look deeply into the flame, into the lights. Let it burn itself into your mind so you will always remember what the light was like long after I have consigned you to eternal darkness.
No, please! Please, no! Please don't! No!
Why, Trask?
No! No! No!
So I want to quote the novella here, and I do so. "For that I shall kill you, Reverend Trask," Barnabas screamed. "No, Barnabas," he pleaded, "do not do this thing to me. I beg you, do not do this." And Barnabas stepped from the gloom, holding a brick and trowel. There was a wide pot, or whole pile of bricks beside him, or behind him, and with an unskilled hand, that of a novice, Barnabas began to build a wall to seal the Reverend Mr. Trask forever in the cellar. You do not dissuade me, Reverend Trask. I will avenge the death you have caused. And he placed another brick in the growing wall, and soon the man's cries were muffled and lost, and the wall was completed, and Reverend Trask was left to die. End quote. Now, there are a lot of fascinating and atmospheric scenes set up, like Barnabas being mobbed by the villagers and taken to trial. He was in the cemetery where Calandra was using a stone tomb there for her devious plots that she was working out. And Barnabas was there searching for Michael. And as he was coming out, one of the villagers had seen him, and they laid in wait for him and captured him, wanting to kill him there on the spot, these little savages, but did take him to trial instead. And another fascinating scene has Angelique possessing Calandra in an attempt to use Calandra's powers to make Barnabas once again a vampire, which seems to be her sole goal in life in whatever time period she is in. Amazingly, for a book this size and written for a young audience, there are many subplots going on, and overall I found it to be an interesting read, and another of the many and varied timelines presented in the various media. Now, as I said, I was fortunate enough to pick up a copy of that, which I showed you. When I say it's atmospheric, there are scenes that are richly atmospheric that I wouldn't have mind seeing played out on the Dark Shadows TV series itself. Very, very excellent. I was rather perplexed by Angelique being the vampire instead of the witch, and Calandra being a witch, which, of course, we've never heard of before, and that part's fine. There's one reviewer had even suggested that this really is not even a Dark Shadows book, since the action takes place in Salem rather than Collinsport and Collinwood, which is just silly, because the characters should not be limited to that one specific area in space and time. But I would recommend that you find a copy, that you read it. If you can't find an original copy, check out that Hermes Press copy. They have actually now redone the entire Marilyn Ross book series also on archival paper, and those, I believe, are $14.99 a piece. Or you can get that whole series, as I showed you in the audio CD. And don't forget to leave a comment so that I can put your name in for the drawing. And I appreciate you being here tonight. Love each and every one of you. Hope you enjoyed this brief look at a rather curious twist in the Dark Shadows mythos, if you will. Please remember that you are always loved here at the Dennis Morrison channel and Charlie Cat Productions. And I hope you'll join me the next time when we will be looking at another element of that incredible story that came from the dream of Mr. Dan Curtis. God bless you all. Stay well, stay safe, stay happy. And I'll see you again real soon.
Now, may I go?
Soon. Very soon.
Why not now?
Because your final resting place is not yet ready.
No, you can't kill me. I signed my confession.
You confessed voluntarily. I never said I would free you.
No.
You wanted Victoria Winters to die in prison, and so shall you. A prison of your own making.